Greetings, gamers. It is I, Gamer Monster, and today we're going to take a look at Blade X Lord. The reason why I'm sighing is I still really don't know what to make of this game. I've had sort of kind of a love-hate relationship with it. I've probably uninstalled and reinstalled it like 4 or 5 times, and I re-rolled on it more times than is probably healthy. However, I'm still playing the game, and I thought it might be interesting to at least give my rambling thoughts and see what we might find with the game. Let's start with the positives first. As you can see right here on the screen, the game does have some pretty good looking characters. This is my light element team, which is my strongest team, and this character right here is the only free character that I got. The rest of the characters I pulled on the gotcha. Um, you know what? Actually, let's go to the gotcha first. Let's go to the summons because this is one of the cool things about this game. We'll just hop in this banner here. We're not going to actually do any summons. However, we're going to look at the rates. And if you'll notice right up there at the top, the SSR rate is 10%. This is so cool. More games need to do this. I cannot stress enough that it is so awful in so many games when you just keep pulling nothing and pulling nothing and pulling nothing. A good, decent rate that's still not guaranteed helps players feel good about pulling. And the better people feel about pulling, the more they're going to spend. Now, of course, you have to have the rest of the game be cool too, which is why I haven't really spent much on this game, although I've considered it a few times, but I digress. Also, you can also see that units and weapons are both in the gotcha. However, it's higher percentage to get units than weapons, so that's good. All right. Also, I need to note that characters in the gotcha are always SSR. There are no lower rarity characters. While that might not sound good at first, I think it's actually a good thing because then you're not filling up your unit roster with a whole bunch of junk that you'll never use. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some characters that are better than others. There is a tier list out there, but so far the only ones that are really on the bottom, very bottom, are the free units that they give you when playing this through the storyline. Speaking of the storyline, obviously they have one. It's a nice quest setup. It's pretty standard. About the only thing that's really different is if we go to the next area that I'm at here, you'll notice up here at the top the little lightning bolt, which is your energy. Story quests are free, which means you can go through the story and you don't have to ever worry about running out of energy. Energy is just used for side stages, and as you can see down here, the 3 bottom ones, those are loopable stages. That's right, this game is one of those games where you turn it on, plug it in, go to sleep, and 8 hours later, your guys are still running, they're still grinding. And you have to do a lot of grinding. On the one hand, I do actually kind of like the whole idea of being able to basically set my guys going and just have them do the work while I'm sleeping. On the other hand, that means that there's not a lot of times when you're actually playing the game. Most of the time, your guys are just auto-looping for hours and hours and hours on end. So it's kind of a little bit of a good and bad there. Probably mostly bad, which is kind of one of the reasons why I kept on installing. But then I think about the characters and all that kind of stuff and wanting to collect some more guys and power them up. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll reinstall. And so far, I've just been kind of playing casually, doing the nighttime grind. This is the game that I have on when I'm sleeping, and just letting my guys kind of slowly power up that way. Now, they do also have an interesting event. They've had some ones where the event was just basically gathering up points or materials to trade in for the shop. But then they have these trials and these Deca trials. The trials are very similar. You basically just hit one of those loopable stages down at the bottom there and just grind out your materials, and you trade them in at the trading post for various goodies to power up your guys. But then comes the Deca trials. These are harder stages that you've basically got to play on your own, and the objective is to get a high score. And at the end of the Deca trial, your high score is ranked, and you get rewards based on that. And then there's a separate shop that allows you to get more goodies from it. And that's pretty cool. This allows you to actually play the game on manual to try and maximize your points. I haven't really done that, to be honest, but that's just because I'm busy with other games and stuff like War of the Visions. But what we'll do here, I'll just hop into just this beginner stage here, because I want to at least show combat off. And I'll just let my guys go, and that way you can kind of see how combat works in this game. Oh, looks like Deca Trials is currently down. All right, we'll just go into a regular stage then, and so you can see it that way. Go over to quests here. And we'll pick out, I haven't done this one yet. All right. Let this load up here. Unfortunately, the loading times, especially when you first start the game, at least I find that the loading times can be pretty long. All right. As you can see, this is an action-based combat system rather than a turn-based. I have my guys attacking using their skills on auto, and the skills are all just cooldown based. But then you also have your skills down here, and I'll just use one just for the heck of it. Your teammates have, killed him too fast. Okay, we'll do it again now. Your teammates have these brave skills, which do extra things like Heath Bell's here is just a ton of damage. But then you have your main character, which is right here, they don't get to use their brave skill. Instead, if you see that bar that's filling up around them, when that fills up, they get to go into Soul Burst, which allows them to use their skills super fast because your cooldowns are like half. Oh, I hate these things. Luckily, this one shouldn't be too hard, but I'll keep an eye out on my guys just to make sure everything's good. But, so the combat here, it actually reminds me a lot of Star Ocean and Oasis. I don't know if you guys have played that game or not. It's shut down now, but it was very action-oriented, kind of like this. But I like this one. Oop. The enemy got broken there, so I want to use my Soul Burst to try and do as much damage. That's kind of the way the battle flows in this game, is you basically build up your break meter, break the enemy, do lots of damage. Repeat ad nauseum until the enemy is dead. Oh, my guys are dying, actually. I wasn't paying attention. Sitting here talking and not paying attention to the fight. Looks like I might actually lose this one. That is not good. Oh well. I had them on auto, wasn't manually controlling them anyway, so. But you can switch targets much easier in this game than you could in Star Ocean, and there's a little bit more depth. I'm getting out of here. What with the different skills that not only you have, but also your companions and all that kind of stuff. So I think the combat system is pretty good when you get to play it, and that's kind of the issue. But then again, You have the great rates on the game. I just kind of like the feel and the style. The storyline isn't anything to write home about, but it's at least decent. Um, a lot of games that come out, they just have these awful stories. This one is just, we'll just say you've seen this story before. It uses a lot of tropes, like a lot of them do, but it's at least fun. At least I think so. But in any case, in addition to just the characters themselves, something else I like is how they do character progression. I mean, sure, you have your regular levels that you can level up, and you have limit breaks you can do to increase your maximum level, which also upgrades your skills. But in addition to that, you also have weapons. And here, actually, we'll go to how we set things up and look at weapons here. Each character, the first row is their main weapon. This has to be the weapon, match the weapon type of the character. Like if you'll see my main character up here, Liselot, she is a double sword user, so her main weapon has to be double swords. However, any of the secondary weapons can be anything. They don't give nearly as much stats, but their abilities still stack. So let's take a look at, well, actually, let me see if I can, yeah, here we go. See, the skill right here, Imperial Light Assault Blade, increases attack and magic attack of all light allies. This works on every last one of those weapons that is there. So this game really, really wants you to build mono teams because everybody's buffing everybody else and increasing everybody's stats. You throw just one other element in there and it breaks the whole thing up, and that character is not going to be nearly as strong because they're not sharing in all the buffs. I mean, you can still do it, but as a general rule, you're going to want to make sure your teams are all the same element, so that way they can really stack everything up and go that way. In addition to all of the weapons, you also have accessories. Now, accessories do various things. You have just this basic one right here that increases your attack, and then they also have their sub skills, which, like most equipment systems in a lot of gotchas, are random. As you level it up, you get random substats and random increases to them. In addition to that, if you see the symbol that's underneath the type, okay, let me rephrase that. On this column right here, this is your attack accessory. The red icon shows you that that's what it is. It's an attack accessory. The blue icon is defense, and the yellow icon is miscellaneous. Underneath that is also a set icon. And the set icons give really big boosts, such as, extra defense, more attack, more critical, more break damage, all things like that. So not only do you have to worry about the actual accessory itself, what it does, you have to worry about the substats, and you have to worry about the set. This gets a little complicated, but it does make for some interesting progression in trying to fill out your teams. On top of that, you get accessories by crafting them. And here's all my recipes. The ones that are shaded out I just can't make right now because I don't have the materials. Let's say we want to make another power bracelet recipe. You'll notice I have my list of characters right here, and each one has a skill associated with them on which accessories they can craft well. My first two guys here, like Keith Bell right there, he has an expert skill at crafting this power bracelet. On top of that, these are the sigils that he creates, whereas Ride there makes different sigils. And when you craft, we'll just go ahead and max it out here, create. What you get is also random. The higher your skill, the better your chances of getting a higher grade accessory are, but it's not guaranteed. And also the number of stars, which are basically, when you have more stars, you start out with more sub abilities, and thus they can get more powerful as you level them up. How many stars you get is also random. Lots of random. But it does mean that you can keep going and keep grinding the materials to try and get better and better accessories. So I actually enjoy all of that part, but then I get faced with the gameplay. And thus I keep going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth on whether or not I play this game. So right now, like I said before, I'm just kind of doing it casually, just kind of letting it grind, just kind of slowly powering up my guys and everything. And if in the future I decide I'm not going to anymore, it's not a big deal. But in the meantime, just enjoy it for what it's got. I know that was a bit rambling because, as I said, wasn't really sure what to make of this game or what to say, so I just was kind of giving some of my thoughts. Hopefully you found it informative and entertaining, at least somewhat, maybe. Either which way, if you like the video, please give me a big thumbs up and make sure to hit that subscribe button. Hopefully we'll see you around, and you guys have a good one. Until next time, laters.